Thank you very much, and good afternoon to all of you. This session just before lunch, and I'm sure we'll try to make it as interesting as possible because the subjects are very, very interesting, and looking forward to the way today technologies are trying to change the entire paradigm of industries. And here, petrochemical is not the one to be left out. So I welcome my esteemed panelists out here, Mr. Vimal, Mr. Gaurav, and Anamika. And all of them have one common place where they have worked earlier is HPCL, which I found out. And today they are in different teams. He is in a JVC of HPCL. She is still with the HPCL. And he moved from, McKinsey to Reliance today, being a part of strategy. So we have a very interesting panel out here to discuss various things. And to coming back to the topic, as we navigate this industry 4.0, the petrochemical industry, as I said, is uniquely positioned to harness the transformative power of AI, ML, and IoT. And these technologies are not only reshaping the traditional manufacturing paradigms, but also setting new benchmarks for operational excellence, efficiencies, and predictive maintenance, safety, and sustainability. So our panelists are experts in these areas, and we will try and explore how data-driven strategies can be, leveraged to optimize petrochemical plants. And together, all of us will delve into how predictive maintenance reduces downtime, how ML-driven process optimization enhances yield and quality, and how these advances are redefining competitiveness in the petrochemical sectors. We also aim to provide actionable, insights that inspire innovation, practical implementation in our organizations. And we have broken down the topics into 6 different segments. We will try and cover all 6 one by one through these 3 experts. And I like to start with Vimal sir, with the topic 1. All of them can answer all the 6 answers, but for the sake of time and to have 6 different segments to cover, we'll try one segment each and then go into the other segments. So the first segment is dealing with the strategic potential of manufacturing data. Now, from your perspective, Mr. Vimal, in the petrochemical industry, what is the strategic importance of manufacturing data for achieving operational and business goals in chemical plants? So, and how it is integrated with the supply chain and new product development. You can also cover some examples from your company and also cover how the data is aligned with your long-term objectives such as sustainability, cost reduction, and innovation. And how you have transitioned from traditional maintenance approaches to the predictive ones. So these topics will more or less give us an insights to this story. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Manish, for making me the opening batsman. It's a very interesting question, and I think by now most of the industry members, they have realized the power of data. If I talk about, first of all, let me talk about the company so that you can, estimate in terms of where we are and how we are doing all this thing. We started as an oil and gas company. We started with the 9 million metric ton refinery, and we are producing most of the petroleum product which you make. Last year, we commissioned our petrochemical plant also. We are almost making all the grades over there. As of now, we make around 65 grades. And so as far as the data is concerned, and this is coming out of the experience which I saw in last 2-3 years. See, the refinery guys and the petrochemical guys, we know they are the best refiners and best petrochemical engineers over there. Telling them the power of data, at times it becomes very difficult for an IT guy, let me tell you very honestly. Because they always believe they are the best, and sometimes people claim by the sound itself they can make out how the unit is working. You have to give one use case to them where they can actually see the output of the system is much better than what those people have been actually doing. So I will talk about one example and then I will talk about petrochemical because let me allow me to have a conversation across oil and gas company altogether, including petrochemical.
That will be interesting.
So for example, 2 years back, we have a CPP. We make around 165 megawatt captive power generation plant. It runs on petcoke. So one problem we had, every day there was a deviation of around 6 to 7 times deviations in the SOx, SOx levels there. So they came to us and they say, can you do something for us? So despite having all the limits, all the piece of instrumentation, etc., they were having that problem. So using this classical AI ML, we were able to develop a model through which the systems on a 30-minute advance notice is able to predict basic the operating parameters, what is going to be the SOX level after 30 minutes. And as you know, I think most of you may be knowing, to control the SOX, basically we dose with lime. So accordingly, the system will, the operator will adjust the lime so that the dosing can be done, and accordingly SOX can be kept under this thing. And another beautiful thing what we did is, because we realized, you understand, operators may not be fully aware to take these kind of decisions or may not be equipped to take those kind of decisions. We later, after 1 year of, having this test trial runs of all this application, we put that into control loop. So as of now, this application works in a closed loop, where through a AI ML logic, the system controls the amount, first of all, what can be the SOX emission level. Accordingly, based on the reactivity and the quality of lime, etc., what should be the lime dosing quantity, and accordingly calculates and adjusts the lime dosing also. In the process, if we see, we solve three problems rather. One is the conviction about how AI ML can actually solve business problems. That is one. Second is, as on today, for last 1 year, our SOX deviation is 0. Day in, day out, 0. CPCB allows up to 5 deviations in a day. We have 0 deviations. Third is, in the process, we were able to optimize lime also. I'm very happy to say, as on today, we save around 20 CR. 20 crore rupees. By the way, all these applications, they don't cost you a lot of money. Only thing is, they need a lot of good quality chemical engineers plus IT engineers. This all solution were developed in-house using some free source tool, etc. And we are able to save around 20 CRs over there. So this is about the power of the data, the kind of benefits it will bring into. If I talk about petrochemical, one problem we are trying to address, and I'm sure this problem will be there with every petrochemical company. How to optimize the quantity of the steam consumption. Because everybody says, though I'm not from a technical background as far as chemical engineering is concerned. Most of my friends in the refinery says oil and gas is a pretty stable subject. 150 years we have been, Manish will agree with me, he's a part of oil and gas. We produce the same product for last 150 years, not much of change. But petrochemical is a different ballgame altogether. It has a lot of complexity. There, again, using AI ML, we are trying to see, can we optimize on the steam consumption?
Thank you. I think those are very interesting examples, and I very well, connect with the CPP. We created a CPP dashboards for our own refineries inside using the same technologies, so that we are able to use the most, economic power when we are doing it and see the performance of each of these things. But interesting use cases which you have brought out. I just want to, come in here and ask, will you like to add on to what he has said here before I shoot out the next question to you? Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking on the importance of the data, I feel that data was always there. Even if we see last 10 years, we had HISIS, we had IP21 and PhDs. The data was always there. But how now we are harnessing the manufacturing data is the real important thing, and that carries a strategic importance. So not just it is bringing agility in decision making, change in how we integrate our supply chain with the manufacturing system, or with data we are able to identify bottlenecks which can impact supply chain, or vice versa, supply chain impact which can affect our downstream or manufacturing business. I can give a recent example that in polyester business particularly, PTA cost was lower when we buy it from China rather than we produce our own PTA for production of polyester. Since we had end-to-end data integration and real-time visibility of all the processes and the cost of production for our own polyester and our own PTA, we found that it is better to buy PTA and produce polyester, and rather than producing our own PTA and maybe sell whatever is the feedstock for PTA to external entities. And that we could do because we harness the data and not just kept. So this is the strategic importance of data, which you told. And secondly, that the data usage is very important. It's like for a particular company, they found it that most of the faults or most of the accidents are happening near the crane area or near the places where or a tank was completely dislodged because of the static electricity, and there was a huge fire. So the CEO decided that entire company should go through the training program on static electricity. But the same incident, crane and the static electricity incident continued to happen because the data provided the insights, but the governance should have been in place that the training has to be given to the person, to the truck operator who is emptying the tank, and not to the entire company. Similarly, the training for the crane thing has to be given to people who are looking after maintenance and to the and related to the activities related to crane business, maybe the helper and the crane operator, and not to the entire company. So usage of data, governance system in place, a cultural change, how we harness the data is as important as the data itself. I missed the next part of the question which you had.
Yeah, you were trying. Hello. Yeah. We were trying to also understand, how this you have transitioned from traditional maintenance to predictive things, and you have actually covered the safety portions very beautifully out here. And you have also covered how this data has helped your organization in taking some business decisions as well. So, so mostly you have covered the topics other than how you are transitioned from a traditional maintenance approaches to a predictive one through this data. Yeah.
All right. So in terms of transition, the change management, it's very important to develop a culture first. That with data, with what Sir told, that with data we need to first prove that this can be done. So we take a small POCs and POC, form a small team which is agile enough, and then demonstrate the benefit, and then we later on scale it up. Secondly, it is important to put governance in place, that how the data would be used, how dashboards will come, what data will go to which person, and what action has to be taken with that data. And not just we create a digital dashboard. Then when digital solution is implemented, we should not only just measure the KPIs and the impact it will deliver, but we should also see that how many users are actually using it. So that we are not creating a digital dodo which will get extinct after management stop their focus on that. So it is very important to understand the user's need and provide a solution which doesn't increases the user's work, but it rather helps them. And we need to also track the usage that users are going to actually use after this POC as well. So not just the technology, how we use the technology, what technology to be implemented, whether it is in sync with the organization practice or not, or governance structure, and how and to use and to see that whether the platform will be actually used by the users in future is very important. And lastly, whether the platform which is created as a new platform is not doing a cannibalization, that some other platform is doing the same job and this also is doing same job, so that creates a duplication, and it rather hampers and disrupts because we do not have a single source of truth. So it's important to have a single source of truth through digitization. That's all I want to add.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's beautifully came out in terms of the predictive maintenance, because POCs are the best way to showcase the as is and to be differences between the two, and how it has, add the tangible benefits and the way it has been predicting, and in fact trying to avoid certain things which could have hampered the entire production systems as well. So Anamika, I will also like to, quickly take us through how HPCL is, defined on this data, manufacturing data, and how do you align yourself around that before I come to another question. Yeah.
Sure. Am I audible? Yeah. Sure. Thank you. Basically, means I will just take a quickly minute. We started this data transformation, digital transformation, I should say, around 2018, and with the project Parikalp. So in the beginning, we had thought about demand forecasting because that was critical, being coming from downstream. HPCL is a downstream oil and gas company. So that was like, I should say that that did wonders. So because we were able to predict with almost 95 to 96% of accuracy the demand what actually it was. So that was one, and later anyway many more digital initiatives we had started and we had taken care of. I will agree to what Mr. Gaurav said. So what happens is, in case if we are not able to, I should say, market our solution, or we are able to reach business, then what happens is either they don't use it or they start shadow solutions, I should say. So basic thing is that if we are into data-driven culture, then we have to reach business, we have to reach people, we have to tell what it is, and we have to show them what kind of, I should say, insights they are getting, so that it is like it is actually helping in their business and ultimately in revenue growth of HPCL. So that is my take on it. Yeah, thank you.
I definitely agree with you. These are the way downstream companies, got onto the bandwagon of AI. So to the next topic, Gaurav, I'll take your point of view here. In terms of overcoming the barriers to OT data integration, these are some of the things which normal IT people are not able to, immediately get it. So I would like to know what are the most common challenges, chemical plants face when attempting to integrate OT data with the enterprise systems. And how are we balancing the real-time data access with the constraints of legacy infrastructure and manufacturing operations? These are most common things which we all feel in our refineries. And in your experience, what are the best practices for achieving seamless data integration while minimizing disruptions to the plant? And what operational value do you think manufacturing data can bring on the table in terms of unscheduled downtimes? They're very common things which I have experienced in our own 9 refineries what you produce, apart from chemical plants. They're all chemical plants all around. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
In terms of, am I audible? In terms of OT data, in a simple word, we can say operational data provided to IT system. So that integration layer is very important. So if I talk about my company, we first created the strategy that what is my OT data, what is my IT data, and how I will take my OT data into the IT data. And that is common across the organization. And why this standardization was important? Because we have a very diverse operating assets. One is the most modern in the world, and at the same time we have some of the legacy infrastructure which comes from organic growth or mergers and acquisitions. And so with this diverse thing, it was very difficult to integrate and create one single platform using, when we have a diverse set of data, diverse solutions. We have at one place we have a most modern DCS like NASA, and at the same time we have a 50-year-old pneumatic systems as well. So what we decided that this is the minimum digitization requirement we will have for taking anything at a scale and to take it to the next stage. So wherever data was not available, we installed the systems, we provided IIoT solutions. We created our own data lake, which took data from the discrete platforms and that data lake provided a background or a launch pad for any initiative, be it AI, ML, or anything, be it predictive maintenance or whatsoever, so that this problem doesn't come that whenever we have a new solution, we have to integrate various discrete platforms. So a creation of data lake was something which ensured that in future, whenever any digitization initiative is taken up, we will be quickly able to scale it up. Secondly, what Sir told, it's like integration of legacy platforms. It was really challenging things. Like at many places, we did not had plant change modifications reflected in the DCH itself. So, and at the same time, there were plants which had a smart plant PNIDs and which had everything smart. So, a minimum viable solution was found, and as such, in a digitization process, we found that it's easy to implement a POC at a place where most modern things are there. But most benefit will come at a place which is the laggard. So when we start a digitization and test something, we test at a place where it is most easy to test. And when we scale it up, we start from the most laggard place. So that is something which I feel that it's come from the organization practice as such. Thirdly, we are in a unique position because we have our own data company to support. And this helps us in making many of our process streamlined and to harness the data in a way it should be. The last part of question was predictive maintenance.
Yeah, operational value.
What kind of value we have created through predictive maintenance. When we embarked on the predictive maintenance, we divided our assets into various parts. So just like any chemical company or any petrochemical or refining company, we have static equipment, we have rotating equipment, we have electrical equipment. We found that dividing them is a better way to create and find a niche solutions. So we divided it first. Then while, for example, we took static equipment, we categorized them that where most failures are happening and where it is most impactful to create to create something. So we divided these into various phases and implemented where most impact can be created. And while taking POC, again we took a place where where impact is most. For rotating equipment performance monitoring, we found that certain compressors or pumps are bad actors and they fail often, and they are one of the most important places. So we figured out that these 1,000 equipments are the one which should have the state-of-art technology first, and within those 1,000 we will take 100 first and see that whether benefit is actually getting delivered. And while we were doing all that, we developed the dashboards and all the governance structure which was required to deliver it. Because without dashboard, we cannot visualize, or we cannot see, or what just numbers cannot do anything. It's the contextualization and the message or a pattern which gives the information and it gives the actionable insights. So we devise a solution that gives actionable insight, and then it's like any digitization initiative is like going to gym. You don't see result just next day, but over the period of time, maybe 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line. So whenever we implemented POCs, we measured that in a year there were 3 failures in a cracker complex because of the electrical failure or a cable damage or a motor failure. But after implementing electrical equipment performance monitoring, the failures have reduced by this amount, and we could save around maybe more than 150 crores because we are the largest complex. So this all we did for doing all this on the predictive maintenance front. Rather than having a monologue, I would say, sir, you can interrupt me any point of time, or even anyone can from audience. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, Gaurav. Yeah, I can very well connect with what you have said. And to monetize the entire data, we in IOC as well, we put up the data management platforms and created all the historians and lake out of it to monetize the data out there. So carrying the dialogue further to HPCL, Anamika, how important is predictive maintenance in your organization? And looking at, since you are similar organizations like us, identifying patterns that lead to predictive maintenance opportunities can be challenged. Can you throw some light how this is an opportunity from an AI/ML perspective, though we have covered this here, and how predictive maintenance initiatives in chemical plants can be scaled to multiple facilities to reduce downtime. That's the biggest topic of discussion in chemical plants is downtime. We have to improve that. And how do you feel the power of visualization? He spoke about dashboards when it comes to being able to see data in motion. Can such visuals help in reducing the maintenance downtimes as far as HPCL is concerned? Very quick talk on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would try to cover all the things. So basically, as Mr. Gaurav mentioned, and sir, you also confirmed, like in IOCL, so, and Mr. Vimal Goel also touched upon. So predictive maintenance, that word itself, like though it seems like it seemed new to me when we talked about operational equipment. However, being part of information systems in all my career, so we used to do that for everything, and we do that for each and every equipment whatever comes into our lives. So coming to our refinery equipment, so that journey was not so easy. We did it, and second phase is still in progress. But what happens is that in the beginning when we started this, then there were many questions that what will you do? What better you can do through using AI/ML? So actually condition monitoring is there for years together in refineries. So we had to actually, I think it took almost 7 to 8 months to convince the teams in refineries that this is using AI/ML, and then you will come to know. And the equipment is so very expensive. Like if we say that predictive maintenance solutions are very like huge investments, but I feel that when we were calculating the IRR, which is the obvious thing when we take CapEx projects, so I had to like put my statement like this to the committees that we have this solution at this, I should say, amount. However, critical rotary equipment is too very expensive. So in case, even if we are able to tell the failures beforehand, suppose even 15 days in advance, even 1 month in advance, then I think we can take those in maintenance, and we can, I should say, reduce huge loss which company could have made because of non-maintenance. So that was one part. Another thing, sir, you asked about that visualization part. So what I felt is that things were there, sir. Things were there, and but I do not know what you are seeing. So when it came into like limelight that this particular equipment at this point, this is the temperature, these are the vibrations, and then it became like doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani types. So then people actually started seeing the value, and out of 7 rotary equipment, means people were really happy. Then after evaluation of that, we went into second phase, and now we are going ahead with 33 more equipment.
Thank you, Anamika. I think the kind of IRRs which we have seen in IOC are sometimes 4x to 7x of whatever investments we make. And the time of disruptions which is unpredicted is definitely more than when you actually go for a planned maintenance shutdowns. Mr. Vimal, I'll take the next questions with you, the next topic, which is on optimizing the processes with the data analytics and AI/ML, which incidentally that topics are flowing to each other. So how do you envision that data analytics and AI/ML transforming processes optimization in your chemical plants at your industry? And what is the biggest challenge in applying AI/ML when OT data lacks proper contextualization? He mentioned about that, or is siloed. And can you also discuss any success stories where AI/ML-driven process optimizations improved yield, energy efficiencies, or safety? And one or two examples, which cases, how AI/ML can be used to process optimization. In fact, this question is common to all three of you, kind of, This is where everything boils down to. So I love you to start with this answer to these questions. Thank you.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Thank you, Manish. I think I already started in the beginning the power of AI/ML and what it can bring to your operations. So be it, we are seeing multiple use cases where possibly all such data science based technology. I'm not just classifying that into AI or data analytics or something like that. Any technology which is data science based can be applied. It can be in operational efficiency, it can be in improving safety, it can be in compliances, better compliances, etc. Two examples I already gave where I talked about this lime case and SOx emissions control, etc. Second is, as I said, we are working on currently on this how to do. Frankly speaking, it's not only steam optimization in cracker. It can be any utility, prediction, and then accordingly calculating it in any unit. Every petrochemical plant or oil and gas, they have multiple units, so possibly, this can be done across. From a challenge point of view, if you see, I think Gaurav also touched upon that point, the availability of the data. Frankly speaking, that problem is not there in oil and gas because most of the things they were instrumented from the day one, and the data was available. Only thing is, there the kings are technical services guy. Basically, they control what all tags has to be configured. And secondly, the more tag you configure, you unnecessarily pay to the vendors. So obviously, there is a optimization over there. When you come to, developing any data science model on top of it, then you suddenly realize the data is not available. See, for developing a good AI/ML use case, you should have some reasonable amount of data, good data, quality data, that only you will be able to. Otherwise, it's like garbage in, garbage out. You give that garbage, it will throw the garbage out back on you. So the whole prediction will go wrong. And second thing is, in oil and gas, especially if it's a process industry, very volatile and very sensitive kind of industry, in case your accuracy is not to the expected level, nobody will accept your solution. So looking at that data point and the accuracy and the refinedness quality of data is one important aspect, before we start this journey. Second is the acceptance by the user department. Again, as I said, because one, they are working with a certain, style in a very long time. So convincing them about, the usability of the solution or the efficacy of solution is a difficult thing. Practically, how do we do it is we give the solution for 3 months, 6 months to them and we ask them to evaluate it. And the moment they start getting, some comfort around that, then we look at, second part of it, which is how to get it operationalized. And in case the piece is instrumented and it can be done, then how to put it in a control loop. This is typical cycle which we follow in our case. In case I talk about use case, one more thing, what we did is, and I think it's very common, possibly it can be replicated across any unit. Can you predict, for example, in any furnace, if you see, refinery has a lot of furnaces, almost every unit has a furnace. In furnace, can you predict oxygen level and then accordingly control it? Because excess oxygen is a wastage of heat. Lower oxygen is incomplete in combustion. So can you do that? So we are working on that. Only thing is, we realized in the process, we developed a model for one particular unit and later we realized, I think it was a miss from our side. The damper through which you control the inflow of oxygen is not instrumented. So it is a manual damper. You cannot, control your manual damper every now and then. So we are not trying to, replicate this particular thing into. See, only thing is, in this particular case, I may not be evaluate the way we work with every data science model is we try to calculate the monetary value upfront, how much saving we are going to do. There are a number of cases with every industry if we talk about. Only thing is, you'll have to pick up some of them because, as I said, first of all, we try to do all of them internally within our department. So department obviously will focus on high value items rather than low value items. So, for example, this oxygen case, we know it can be replicated across all the 14 units, and obviously the amount of savings may be much more. So this is how we pick up. I think there we picked up a wrong model, but anyway, since it is replicatable, now we are trying to do it in a place where we have a BFD through which we control, the inflow of oxygen, etc. So that is how we are doing it.
Thank you so much. I think that's how most of us will be doing around it. To develop on another aspect of it, Gaurav, I'd like to take you to the ROI and business impact data-driven things which you was talking about. There's a second, you just go into the next topic. And what are the financial and operational benefits you have experienced, by investing centralized data systems or platforms we have done so far? And how do you scale successful pilots to ensure sustained value across different plants? Because ultimately, you are doing POCs. At some point of time, you will have to either horizontally expand or vertically go forward with some of them, which are classic cases which have done in all the industries. And what are the key metrics or ROI indicators do you use to evaluate the success of a digital transformation efforts in optimizing petrochemical manufacturing processes? Some of the common questions, but these are the things which management actually look forward to. Whenever, I'm sure when you go to your people and they try and say this is a POC and this is what I am going to achieve out of this. So these are questions you might have answered. So we'll be happy to take answers from you. Yeah.
So talking about success of the digital transformation or any digital application, one success criteria is a clear thing that does, it gives a return, basically IRR, but that is spread across some time and we need like some time to measure it. But there are some rolling KPIs, which I told that how many users are actually using it? Is it saving my people's time? Or as a larger benefit, we are more like a vision-driven organization. So if we have used AI and ML applications in a diverse places for yield, energy, throughput, quality, sustainability, as well as for a safety purpose. So whatever objective we are trying to achieve, whether we are able to meet that objective or not, or we are going in that direction or not, that is a KPI or a metric which we try to follow. I will just give an example that we were doing a video analytics project, and in that video analytics project we had around 10 use cases. So we went use case by use case that where we are and whether we will be able to deliver it or not, or when from POC scale to scale it up. Just as an example, we had a productivity use case. So how much time a laborer or a contractor person is spending in the plant and on the equipment, we want to measure through video analytics. So we could capture that how much time it is he is spending inside the facility. But for the measurement of productivity, we could not, because hands-on tool time, many a time that person was stable, not moving. So AI could not capture the hand movement. Sometimes like that person was behind certain equipment, so we could not capture it. So that's how we got to know that we can capture the in and out time and how much time a person is spending in the field, but we cannot capture the hands-on tool time. But we can do it in other way, like if in a day this much of scaffolding has to be done, then what is the amount of scaffolding which is done? So we can measure the productivity by maybe using other applications, or maybe by some other means, not just by the video analytics, and that comes from the that comes from natural intelligence. So we have to combine AI with the human intelligence as well whenever we are delivering certain use cases. Another example which comes to my mind is we were delivering a safety use case again through video analytics. There was a fire case, and then in fire detection, a sunlight's reflection was also getting detected as a fire case, a fire incident. And that created a kind of a false positives, and people lost faith in it that it gives a very vague things and false alerts. So we got to know that we have to train the model, we have to go back to the drawing board and take that use case only when accuracy is high. So this and forgot the second part of question, sir.
Second part was about the, how are the key metrics indicators?
Okay, so key metric indicators I already touched.
And how do you scale them?
In terms of scale up, we put the POC, we put a small team and measure at a small place. And secondly, it's easy to do POC because the team is small, place is small. You can, that all agility goes for a toss when we do scale up. Because then we have to do the communication to the entire organization, to everyone. It's easy to communicate when we take a small POC in 2 plants, but when we have an entire facility, people get restless. Like for example, there was a POC. We tried that we will automate and mediocrity. So whatever is mediocre, we will automate. For example, Central Technical Services generates a MIS report, and if it can be populated automatically, good. So it saves a lot of time, and that technical services engineer can use its mind to create some value, more value maybe, and not just by documenting something. But the message was not clear, and they interpreted it like that they will be cutting the people in the through automating all those processes.
Yeah.
So even the messaging for digitization has to be very clear and very so later on we were cutting the silos across the organization, because much of the data lies in silos, and then it hampers a two-way communication. But when those silos were broken, a data owner, someone was a data owner, and he had control over all the things, and it moved to other all democratization of data itself created a challenge, because some of the department did not wanted it. So we have to put governance system in place so that we deliver the actual KPIs, at the same time do not increase the disruption in the organization.
Thanks.
So IRR, data-driven agility, whether we are able to reduce the time for the decision making, whether we are able to reduce the mediocrity, or the number of users are increasing, these are the certain metrics we follow. For example, if HYSYS is there, hardly out of 1,000 engineers in chemical engineers, maybe just 5 to 10 can use. But with AI ML, we found that number can increase. So this is another metrics one can see from digitization, that many people can harness the data and use it actually.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. I think those are very interesting things coming out from your side. I think it will be nice to listen to Anamika on 2 aspects of this, which is in HPCL. How were you able to successfully take sustained values out of your POCs and scale it up? And how are you able to convince your management to undertake these projects? And what are your success parameters and change management things which you have to encounter?
Yeah. So basically, I'll just tell first about predictive analytics-based maintenance. This is how we coined our project. So for that, as Mr. Gaurav was talking, that what are the evaluation parameters? So we did not do POC as such for that, but we did phase 1 kind of, that 7 equipment we took in the beginning. And our success parameters were that 85% should be positives, and I think 0 false negatives, something like that. And usage, like in case if we are able to, like out of 7, if we are able to predict alerts for all, then definitely it is a win-win situation. But, and we could do that. We could do that. So, and regarding convincing, before I come to convincing management, I will tell you about that, like demand forecasting, because that is the very dear subject to me. For that, we did a POC, and there we were able to give 98% of accuracy in POC. Then after that, actually being first digital initiative for implementation, so management was also gung-ho about it, ki okay, you can take the budget and go ahead. But as it happens that once it came, then almost double was the price which the vendor quoted out of my estimate. So of course, there was like a round of internal discussions. But convincing part was that we did actual calculation of, I think, me and one of my officers, we did almost 1 month. We were trying to create the kind of calculations ki what it will bring to HPCL. So that is like one part. Similarly, like now we have, means though it is not exactly this thing, but generative AI is going to bring value to all of us in near future. So for generative AI also, similarly what happened is ki we started small, like when it came into November 22 in the chat GPT. So we thought ki what we can do. But then in-house we tried to create open source, means using open source LLMs. We created in-house GPTs. And now people are, since they are seeing value, so we are scaling it up. So basically we are able to tell, we have created a structure kind of that, as Mr. Gaurav also said, that we use a term called, means that is for automation, process automation, that FTE. Full-time equivalent. So there is a calculation ki how much hours are saved, how much volume was there, whether it was a routine task, whether it was creating a monotonous kind of atmosphere in the minds of the officers. So that was the crux, I should say.
Yeah, thank you. I think that brought out some of the things which we all face in our organizations, and the values came when they were able to see the actual benefits, whether tangible, intangible, or whatever way we get. Last question to the opening batsman again, sir, to you, is on cybersecurity. Ultimately, we are talking about IoT here, and cybersecurity is always the first topic which goes to the management's mind, whether our data is safe. And many of our refineries are CII. So I'd like to ask you, how are you, ensuring that the risk mitigation or data-driven operations is, maintained in your organizations, and this increasing reliance on data, how do you address cybersecurity risk unique to the manufacturing environment? A quick word on that from your side, sir. Yeah.
See, as distillation footprint goes, the attack surface goes up. So obviously, cybersecurity becomes a major challenge. In the earlier time, all these refinery systems or systems in any process plant for that matter, they were isolated from IT systems, so they were deemed to be, I can say deemed to be. Nobody was ever sure of those things. They were deemed to be secured. But now after IT-OT integration happening, this has suddenly become a major topic of discussion, and there are multiple use cases, multiple cases, right from colonial pipeline attack to so many we are hearing about, where people have gone into OT system either directly or through IT systems, and they have created some havoc in the system. That I think that potential, that probability can never be ruled out. So now this is, if you see, the big hydrants to your distillation program also, because the moment you talk about that, then suddenly people start correlating with this as well, because this has to be taken care of. I think this purely depends on the governance model which you set. In our company, for example, the governance model which we came out with, we simply said we don't know OT. We are not process experts, we are not refinery experts. Anyway, those items in most of the company, they are controlled by the instrumentation guy or the maintenance guys. So those are the designated OT security managers to take care of it. Our role in IT, if I come from IT, I'm talking about my role. Our role is to set the governance in place. So for example, we picked up 62443, which is everybody knows is a gold standard of OT security. We built our OT security policy around 62443 and all the recommendations coming from agencies like CERT-In and NCI, APC, etc. And we said this is what you have to follow. At the same time, of course, I mean, it is easier to say, but you have to always keep a watch on that. So the way it has been happening is, first of all, in our company, for example, IT, OT, there is only one single interface through which IT guys can go into OT and vice versa. That is one. Second is, most of the traffic from OT to IT, because all the digitalization initiatives largely need read of data. There are very few cases. For example, I talked about Lime case where we are writing back to digital control system, DC system. Those environments have been made extra safe, cut out from rest of the world, not accessible to internet, etc. Those kind of layered approach which we have taken to make sure that those systems remain safe and secure. But largely, that data is unidirectional, coming from OT to IT. And on top of it, we are working very closely with our instrumentation teams, the OT security manager that we talked about, on improving the security postures of that. There are many good solutions which has come in market, which has capability of protocol analysis of data which flows into a OT setup. Those kind of things are there. But I think Manish brought out a very valid point. I think this cyber security has to be dovetailed or has to be given equal priority, equal importance with respect to your digitalization program. Otherwise, possibly some point of time, it may come out to be too costly. We may show some costing some saving as on today, but maybe some point of time, in case, God forbid, something happens, then it becomes too costly for you to really define. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vimalji. I think that was very well brought out, and I would have really loved to continue with one more question, but the time is up. In fact, I wanted to ask each one of you whether OT SOC is in your mind or not, because this is something which is coming up to people like us who are mandated by, or regulatory authorities to all those CII refineries to have a OT SOC also to be brought in, which is still to come in. I think most of us sitting out here may be thinking about it. So this is one topic which we'll love to discuss some other time, because we have done some POCs around that to see how the entire thing can come and work for all the 9 refineries. It will be a very CapEx-intensive solutions, but this is how we have to bring it out. So in the end, thank you so very much to the esteemed panels, and we were able to cover all the 6 mandated subjects. Thank you so much, Vimalji, Anamika, Gaurav, and one quick word, I think Gaurav want to say something. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Though I'm representing Reliance, but when it comes to cyber security, I would even speak on behalf of Jio. You can move everything to Jio Cloud. We are India's own India's own data in India infrastructure. Secondly, just for the benefit of everyone, there is a pandemic of Google Drive getting full with all the photos and everything we have. So Jio Cloud has 100 GB of free storage for everyone. So you all can move your photographs and everything and enjoy. Rather than 15 GB, you can all enjoy 100 GB of storage. Thank you.